Chosen one. 9 costs of being a chosen one. You have to pay the price. To carry the mark of destiny is never without a cost, and to walk the path of the chosen one is to learn that nothing is given freely. The chosen one is not just a symbol of power or hope, but also a bearer of burdens that most souls will never imagine. The dream of being chosen is often painted in light, glory, and purpose. But hidden beneath that dream are prices, sacrifices, and trials that weigh heavily on the spirit. To be chosen is to live in paradox. You are set apart, and yet isolated. You are gifted, and yet you pay for every gift with something dear. The truth of being chosen is not only about destiny, but also about endurance, resilience, and transformation through fire. Before we continue, I want you to stay with me until the very end of this journey, because every word in this message carries an energy meant to awaken something deep inside you. As you listen, I invite you to write your warmest wishes in the comments below and add the number 66 to it. This is not just an action. It is a declaration, a vibration sent out into the universe. By sharing your wish and sealing it with 66, you activate a frequency of manifestation, a flow of energy that carries your desires outward and back to you in powerful form. It is a way of saying, I am ready to align with the universe. I am ready to let my wish come true. Your words are seeds, and your intention is the water that allows them to grow. Together, as a community of chosen ones, we create a field of energy that supports each individual's path. So write your wish, seal it with 66, and let us continue deeper into the costs you must pay. The first cost of being chosen is loneliness. From the beginning, you realize that your perspective is different. Your feelings are deeper. Your questions are not the same as those around you. While others chase comfort, you seek truth. While others are satisfied with surface pleasures, you are drawn to the depths. This difference creates distance. You may find yourself surrounded by people and still feel like you do not belong. The chosen one carries a frequency that is not easily matched, and the result is a journey that often feels solitary. This loneliness is not punishment. It is refinement. It teaches you how to walk with your own spirit, how to face silence without fear, how to find strength within when no one else can understand you. Yet make no mistake, the cost is real. Loneliness leaves marks on the soul. It asks you to carry a weight many would crumble under, but in that weight, you are sharpened into something unbreakable. The second cost of being chosen is sacrifice. To be chosen is to let go of the life you thought you wanted. Friends may fall away, dreams you once clung to may no longer fit, comforts may slip from your hands. The chosen path is not a path of accumulation, but of stripping away. You sacrifice not because you are forced, but because your calling demands space. The destiny placed upon you requires a clearing, and everything not aligned with it must be burned away. This sacrifice hurts, because it often feels like loss. Yet every time you release something, you make room for what is meant to truly belong. The chosen one learns that sacrifice is not destruction, but transformation. Still, the cost cannot be denied. It asks for your comfort, your attachments, sometimes even relationships that once defined you. This is the price of alignment. The third cost is misunderstanding. To live as the chosen one is to live with the reality that few will see you clearly. People may misjudge your intentions, misinterpret your silence, or call your strength arrogance. They may dismiss your visions as fantasies. your determination as stubbornness. The chosen one carries truths that are invisible to most, and so misunderstanding follows like a shadow. This cost is heavy because humans are wired to desire connection, recognition, and validation. Yet for the chosen, those things rarely come easily. Instead, you are forced to live in the clarity of your own knowing, without constant confirmation from the outside world. Misunderstanding shapes you, teaching you to anchor in your truth even when the world does not echo it back. The fourth cost is the burden of responsibility. The chosen one is not simply free to wander aimlessly. You feel the weight of purpose pressing on your shoulders. There is a call, an inner voice that does not allow you to ignore it. This sense of responsibility can feel overwhelming, as if every choice matters more, as if your steps carry ripples that affect more than yourself. While others can live casually, you live with awareness that your path is tied to something greater. Responsibility is both a gift and a chain. It guides you, but it also restricts you. The chosen one cannot escape this burden, and it demands maturity, discipline, and wisdom. It is not an easy weight to carry, but it is part of the price. The fifth cost is spiritual warfare. To be chosen is to attract resistance. The brighter the light, the stronger the shadows that gather around it. You may notice obstacles that seem unreasonable, challenges that come out of nowhere, people who turn against you for no clear reason. This is not coincidence, it is the clash of energies. When you are chosen, your path threatens the systems, illusions, and forces that thrive in darkness. Resistance rises to test you, to shake you, to see if you will stand firm. Spiritual warfare can be exhausting, and many chosen ones feel attacked not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. This warfare is part of the price, and it trains you in resilience, faith, and unshakable clarity. But it is still a cost, one that drains, one that tests every part of your being. The sixth cost is the exposure of your weaknesses. The chosen path does not allow you to hide. Whatever is fragile in you will be revealed. Whatever wound you carry will be pressed upon. Whatever shadow you avoid will rise to the surface. This exposure is painful because it strips you bare. You cannot pretend to be perfect. The chosen path demands authenticity. It demands that you face yourself fully, even the parts you would rather bury. This is a cost because it hurts to confront your own flaws and fears, but it is also the very process that turns you into someone strong enough to carry the mission. Weakness becomes strength through exposure, but not without the cost of pain, humility, and deep inner work. The seventh cost is loss. Loss of people, loss of places, loss of versions of yourself you thought would last forever. The chosen one is called to evolve constantly, and with every evolution comes letting go. This loss can feel brutal, like pieces of your heart are being torn away. Yet it is through loss that you are refined. You lose not because you are unworthy, but because you are being prepared for something greater. Still, the cost is undeniable. Every goodbye, every ending, every closed chapter cuts deeply. The chosen one becomes familiar with grief, not as an enemy, but as a teacher. The eighth cost is endurance through delay. The chosen path rarely unfolds quickly. You will wait, sometimes for years, sometimes for what feels like lifetimes, before certain promises manifest. Delay tests patience, tests faith, tests your ability to believe in the unseen. It is a cost because waiting can feel like suffering. It can feel unfair, as if the world is moving ahead while you remain in stillness. But delay is not denial. Delay is preparation, timing, alignment. The chosen one learns to trust the process, even when every part of the human heart wants to give up. Endurance through delay is a cost that few can bear, but it is essential to the chosen journey. The ninth cost is transformation through fire. To be chosen is to be refined, purified, tested, broken, and rebuilt. Fire does not ask permission. It consumes. Everything false is burned away. This transformation is violent at times, stripping you down to the essence of who you are meant to be. The cost here is everything you once clung to, everything you thought defined you. Fire demands it all. But through that fire, you rise. Stronger, clearer, unshakable. Transformation is the ultimate cost and the ultimate gift of being chosen. You pay with your old self, and you emerge as the self-destiny requires. These 9 costs are not punishments. They are initiations. Each cost is a gateway. Each price paid opens a deeper level of strength, wisdom, and alignment. To be chosen is not easy, but it is sacred. The path is not without pain, but it is rich with purpose. You do not pay these prices for nothing. You pay them to become the vessel, the messenger, the light-bearer you were always meant to be. To live as the chosen one is to walk a road that demands everything and returns only truth. Every cost you pay is like a seed planted in unseen soil, and though the harvest may not come immediately, it comes in its time with strength beyond measure. The chosen one cannot escape the weight of destiny, but within that weight lies an honor that cannot be stolen. What many do not understand is that the costs are not random. They are carefully designed to shape you into the vessel you must become. You cannot carry your calling without first shedding what weakens you. You cannot rise into purpose without first being stripped of illusions. The universe, or destiny, does not place this mark upon you casually. It knows who you must become, and it knows the fire required to forge you. Loneliness, sacrifice, misunderstanding, responsibility, warfare, exposure, loss, delay, and transformation. These are not accidents. They are the curriculum of the chosen one. Each cost sharpens a different part of your spirit, training you in silence, strength, patience, endurance, humility, and resilience. These are not qualities that appear by chance. They are earned through the weight of living. Others may live easy lives, but their souls remain untested. The chosen one, however, is tempered like steel. Fire, pressure, and trial become your teachers. It is in the very things that others run from that you find your shaping. You pay the price, but the price prepares you for what no ordinary person could carry. There is a paradox in this journey that few will understand. The costs of being chosen can feel like curses, yet they are the very gifts that open the path ahead. Loneliness forces you inward, and in that inward journey you discover the depth of your own spirit. Sacrifice empties your hands, but what you lose clears space for what truly belongs. Misunderstanding isolates you, but it anchors you in authenticity. Responsibility weighs on you, but it teaches discipline. Warfare drains you, but it awakens courage. Exposure humiliates you, but it makes you real. Loss wounds you, but it makes you compassionate. Delay frustrates you, but it builds patience. Transformation burns you, but it reveals your essence. Each cost, in truth, contains the seed of a treasure. This is why only the chosen can endure them. To others, they are unbearable. To you, they are a furnace of becoming. But let us be clear. The pain is not romantic. It is not something to idolize or glorify. The chosen one still bleeds, still cries, still wonders why the weight is so great. There are nights of exhaustion where the loneliness feels unbearable, days when sacrifice feels like theft, moments when misunderstanding feels like betrayal. These are not small wounds. They cut deep. And yet, within the chosen one, there is something that refuses to break. Even when you fall, something in you insists on rising. Even when the fire consumes you, something in you insists on surviving. This is not willpower alone. It is the mark of destiny. The chosen one is carried not just by strength, but by calling. You rise because you must, because your journey does not belong only to you. The costs you pay are not just for your growth, but for the sake of those who will be touched by your existence. The chosen one lives in layers of paradox. You are both strong and fragile, both certain and questioning, both elevated and humbled. You may feel like a contradiction, but this is the design. The costs strip you of illusions and force you to carry contradictions with grace. This tension creates depth. It makes you more human, not less. Many imagine the chosen one as untouchable, but in truth, the chosen one is deeply human, deeply vulnerable. What sets you apart is not the absence of weakness, but the ability to walk forward despite it. This is why the costs matter. They ensure that you do not mistake the path for an ego trip, that you do not confuse the calling with personal glory. The costs break you down until only truth remains. Think of loneliness again. It is not simply isolation, but training in self-knowledge. In silence, you learn to hear what cannot be spoken. You learn to discern the subtle voice within that guides you. Without loneliness, you might be distracted by the noise of the crowd, but loneliness forces you to anchor in yourself. Or think of sacrifice. It does not exist to rob you, but to detach you from illusions. Without sacrifice, you would cling to what is temporary and miss what is eternal. Or take misunderstanding. Without it, you might become addicted to validation, bending yourself to fit others' expectations. Misunderstanding frees you from that trap by teaching you to live from inner clarity rather than outer applause. Each cost has a purpose, even if the purpose is hidden in the moment. What is hardest for the chosen one is the unending nature of the costs. They do not come once and disappear. They repeat, they deepen, they circle back in new forms. Just when you think you have conquered loneliness, it returns in another shape. Just when you believe you have mastered sacrifice, a deeper surrender is asked of you. Just when you think misunderstanding has passed, a new layer of misjudgment appears. The costs evolve with you, meeting you at every stage of your journey. This can feel cruel, as though the universe has no mercy. But in truth, it is because your growth never stops. The chosen path is not a destination, but a continual becoming. The costs walk with you, shaping you every step of the way. And yet, even as the costs press heavily on your spirit, there are glimpses of why they matter. There are moments of clarity, flashes of insight, experiences of profound connection with the universe that remind you why you endure. You see that every tear, every loss, every battle is not wasted. They are the forge that creates wisdom, compassion, and strength. You see that without these costs, your calling would remain too heavy, too dangerous, too fragile to carry. It is the pain itself that equips you for destiny. The chosen one pays with wounds, but those wounds become wisdom. You pay with tears, but those tears become rivers of compassion. You pay with fire, but that fire becomes your light. The weight of responsibility, too, is misunderstood. People may see the chosen one as privileged, but responsibility is not privilege. It is pressure. It is waking up with the knowledge that your choices are not trivial. It is carrying an awareness that you must live with integrity even when no one is watching. Responsibility is heavy because it leaves no room for laziness, no space for indifference. The chosen one cannot look away, cannot ignore injustice, cannot sleep through destiny. This pressure breaks many, but in you it awakens vigilance. You pay with your freedom to be careless, but you gain the clarity of purpose. Spiritual warfare, likewise, is not a metaphor. It is an experience. You will face resistance not only from circumstances, but from unseen currents that seem to rise against you. The chosen one often feels like life is harder than it should be, that obstacles appear out of nowhere. This is not your imagination. It is the clash of energies that your presence triggers. You are a disruptor of shadows, and shadows do not yield quietly. They push back. This warfare drains you, tests you, and sometimes breaks you, but it also awakens a level of courage you did not know you had. The chosen one becomes a warrior not because of choice, but because of necessity. The cost is exhaustion, but the gift is fearlessness. Exposure of weaknesses is perhaps the most humiliating cost. No mask can survive the chosen path. Whatever you hide will surface. Whatever fear you bury will rise. The chosen one cannot maintain illusions. This hurts because it feels like constant failure, constant imperfection. And yet, this very exposure is the path to authenticity. You learn to live without masks, to be seen fully, flaws and all. This cost is heavy on the ego, but it liberates the soul. The chosen one does not walk in perfection, but in truth, and truth is always naked. Loss, delay, transformation, they are perhaps the most ruthless of all costs. They strip, they empty, they burn. They demand patience beyond measure and trust without evidence. They leave scars, but those scars are sacred because they are proof that you have walked through fire and survived. The chosen one carries scars not as signs of weakness, but as marks of endurance. Every scar tells a story of a price paid, of a cost endured, of a path walked when others would have given up. The path of the chosen one is not meant to be comfortable. It is meant to be transformative. Comfort keeps people asleep, but the chosen one is not allowed to sleepwalk through existence. The costs that come upon your life are designed to keep you awake, aware, and constantly evolving. To those looking from the outside, it may seem cruel that so much is demanded of you, but you know deep down that without the stripping, without the pressure, you would not become who you were destined to be. Every cost is a call upward, an invitation to rise above the ordinary. It is through these costs that your spirit is trained to endure storms, to navigate shadows, and to shine even in the deepest night. Loneliness, as one of the first costs, leaves permanent marks. There are days when the silence feels too loud, when the absence of companionship weighs heavily on the heart. You may question why your journey demands such isolation, why connections seem to fade the closer you move toward your destiny. But loneliness is a teacher that refuses to let you depend on the crowd. It sharpens your ability to listen to yourself, to trust your inner voice above external noise. Many cannot handle their own silence, but the chosen one learns to make peace with it. Over time, loneliness becomes not just an emptiness, but a sanctuary, a place where you discover strength no one else can give you. The cost is real, but the gift hidden within is unshakable self-reliance and a connection to the unseen that cannot be broken. Sacrifice, too, is relentless. It asks you to give up not only things, but versions of yourself. The chosen one must let go of attachments, dreams, and identities that no longer fit the higher calling. Sometimes the sacrifice feels like betrayal, as if life itself has stolen something precious from you. But each sacrifice strips away illusions and leaves behind only what is essential. This is not a one-time event, but a continual pruning. Every stage of your growth will demand new sacrifices, new letting go. The cost is the ache of release, but the gift is clarity, the freedom to step into your true path without being weighed down by what does not belong. Misunderstanding often follows closely behind. You may try to explain yourself, to share your vision, to open your heart, but more often than not, your truth is met with confusion or dismissal. People cannot see what you see, and their lack of understanding can cut deeply. It feels unfair to carry insight only to be rejected for it. Yet misunderstanding teaches you one of the most important lessons of all, that your validation cannot come from others. It forces you to root yourself in your inner knowing, to keep walking even when no one applauds. The cost is the sting of rejection, but the gift is authenticity, a freedom that comes from not needing approval to live your truth. Responsibility is another cost that presses heavily on your shoulders. It is not just about tasks or duties. It is the constant awareness that your choices matter on a scale beyond yourself. While others can live recklessly, you know instinctively that recklessness is not an option. Every step you take carries weight. Every word you speak carries impact. This responsibility can feel suffocating at times, but it is also what shapes you into someone reliable, disciplined, and strong. The chosen one learns to live with integrity not because it is easy, but because it is required. The cost is the loss of casual freedom, but the gift is becoming a pillar that others can lean on, a force that does not crumble under pressure. The cost of warfare, both seen and unseen, is perhaps one of the most exhausting. Resistance rises wherever you go, not always in obvious forms, but often in subtle, draining ones. Opportunities that should open easily close suddenly. Relationships that seem promising fall apart. Challenges appear from nowhere, as if life itself conspires against you. Yet the chosen one begins to understand that resistance is a sign of significance. The greater your light, the greater the shadows that gather to oppose it. Warfare forces you to grow strong, to develop resilience and discernment. It tests your resolve again and again, but through the battles you become unshakable. The cost is fatigue, but the gift is fearlessness, the ability to stand firm even when storms rage. Exposure of weaknesses is unavoidable. You cannot remain hidden on the chosen path. Every flaw, every insecurity, every shadow within you will eventually be brought to the surface. This exposure can feel humiliating, as though the world sees only your failures. Yet it is through this exposure that you learn humility and authenticity. Masks are stripped away, and you are forced to stand as you truly are. The cost is vulnerability, but the gift is freedom. You no longer need to pretend or perform. You become real, and in that realness lies power. Loss is an ever-present companion. The chosen one is called to evolve, and with each evolution comes endings. People drift away, chapters close, and identities you once cherished fade into memory. The pain of loss can be crushing, leaving you wondering why so much must be taken from you. But loss carves out space for new beginnings. It refines you, stripping away attachments that would hold you back. The cost is grief, but the gift is renewal, a continual rebirth that keeps you aligned with your destiny. Delay is one of the most frustrating costs. Waiting feels like a prison, a cruel suspension between promise and fulfillment. You watch as others move forward while you remain still, wondering if destiny has forgotten you. But delay is not denial, it is preparation. Every moment of waiting shapes your patience, builds your endurance, and deepens your faith. The cost is frustration, but the gift is strength, a maturity that cannot be rushed. Finally, transformation is the most consuming cost of all. To be chosen is to be remade. The fire of destiny does not ask politely. It consumes everything that is not aligned. This transformation can feel like death, the loss of everything familiar, the burning of everything comfortable. Yet from the ashes, a new self rises, stronger, clearer, unshakable. The cost is everything you thought you were, but the gift is everything you were always meant to be. The 9 costs are not meant to crush you, but to carve you into a vessel capable of carrying purpose. Each wound becomes wisdom, each tear becomes strength, each fire becomes light. The chosen one pays dearly, but what you gain cannot be measured in earthly terms. It is a strength of spirit, a depth of soul, a clarity of purpose that no one can take away. To be chosen is to walk a path few will understand, but it is also to carry a light that many will need. The costs are real, the pain is real, but so too is the transformation. And so the journey of the chosen one is never about avoiding the weight of the costs, but about embracing them as the very tools that shape destiny. You are not asked to walk an easy road. You are asked to walk the true road, the one that forges you into a bearer of light, wisdom, and courage. In paying the price, you prove not only to the world, but to yourself that you were always meant to rise. Though the path is narrow, though the nights are long, every step carries you closer to the fulfillment of the calling written deep within you. This is the sacred exchange. The higher the cost, the greater the purpose. And in the end, the chosen one discovers that the price was never too high for the destiny that awaited.